Hi guys, it's Calvin Tahan, and yesterday, April 13th or something, 2013, I topped Philadelphia Regionals. The event was like 10 rounds. I went 9-1, and obviously a 10-round tournament is very long, so I don't have a lot of time to talk about it here in this video, but I do just want to cut straight to the deck that I used. I used Mono Mermail, and so I'm going to go profile it right here. So yeah, there's the match, pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to go right to the deck. Now, I based a lot of this deck off of many lists. I used Jeff Jones from California and the winner of the Texas YCS. I basically took every Mermail deck that I can find and took ideas out of them that I liked and I wanted to test, because this is just regionals and it's right before New Jersey, which is an event I'm going to take kind of seriously. So I wanted to see what I could do here. I didn't really come in and expect to win, but you know, I turned out I topped. So that was great. Anyway, gotta go right to the deck. All right. So for the monsters, we have 1 million Glacia, and that's, you know, somebody I took. You don't see that in Mono Mermail a lot, but it's here. I've used it. I think it was live most of the time. I only kept it in for game ones because, you know, 2 and 3, it's a little inconsistent, so I'd always side it out. So I only had it in my deck for 10 games, because you can 10 game ones, and I only drew it, I think, twice. But whenever I drew it, it was live. I never had trouble making it live. It was never, like, not good or anything. It was always great. And a reason I like running it is because it's all water. Through testing this deck on Deanne and stuff, you know, just Mermail in general, and running it last week at YCS, or I'm sorry, at there was a regionals in Virginia, Roanoke regionals, that I ended up going 8-0 in Swiss at, so I topped that one as well with a different build. But what I noticed, and that was my first time running Mermail, was that a lot of times you wouldn't have a lot of monsters for like your Megalos, or sometimes you would have like an Abyss Lead or something in your hand that you wanted to make live, but you just didn't have a lot of monsters. And so I found myself just wanting another like generic water monster that you can run. And so Glacia is cool because you can still discard it for Megalo. Like, it's just another water. I think you need a high water count, and having that in there is pretty good. Like I said, he was live the 2 times I drew him. People say they don't like it because it's a win more card. To me, he actually did win me those games. Like, he discarded 2, which is great, and I got over like you know, a Fire Fist guy with him twice. So that was really good. Like, he was actually necessary. It's not like, oh no, I just won more with it. Like, it actually caused me to win. But at the same time, I can see why it wouldn't be necessary. So I may look at cutting this in the future. Like I said, I always sided it out anyway, so I don't have much experience with it. Anyway, sorry I talked so much. 1 Abyss Lead, it's pretty standard. 3 Megalo. And 3 Tias. Not much there. 3 Divas. Pretty standard. Some builds run 2. I don't know how you can. It just gets everything going. It's really cool. It's pretty good. Sets up for the Megalo Diva OTK. 3 Infantry. I like 3. I would never not run 3. Some decks don't run 3. I mean, actually, a lot of decks don't run 3. I think 3 is actually uncommon, but it's not too uncommon. You know, you see it sometimes. And I think now that, you know, Jersey's coming around and we have that one guy, Ophion, he's going to be a problem. So I think you're always going to have to run 3. If not run the Undyne build. 3 of these are just too incredible. Like I said, it goes up with the Glacia thing, where I just talked about needing more water monsters. I was like, why wouldn't I run these? Like, I like having guys to discard. It's great even if you're just popping a Tenki. You know, the fact that it's not like Rhoda. Like, Tenki is like, granted, it's not really a +1 because the Tenki sort of just sits there and is useless. But if they play Tenki and go into Bear and like pass, popping the Tenki is going to be somewhat beneficial to you, because then the Bear doesn't have an effect unless they have another Tenki or a Tensen or whatever. Like, it's actually like not the worst thing in the world. So discarding this as opposed to like another card that would just be dead for Megalo and popping like a face-up Tenki, it's, you know, it's pretty okay. So 3 of these were pretty good. I love them and I would never go back. 3 Marksmen, obviously. 3 Degrun, you know, best card in the deck. There's no card you'd rather resolve than him. You can search any Sea Serpent, including Glacia, which I never did, but, you know, he can search them in Diva. 3 Pike. This guy's good. He gets things going. He's level 4, the only level 4 we have, so, I mean, other than Dragoons, I guess, but he's a Mermaid level 4, so you can search him with Sphere and stuff. You can make the Easy Dweller for the Mirror. He's just great. He's a good card. This Giant Rat guy, she's called Abyssland. I run 3 of her. Pretty standard there, I think. Most builds run 3. And then 2 Gundys. Or Guns, or I don't know the E is silent, or Gundi, or Gundy. Anyway, I run 2 of them. They're great when they resolve. They're a little cloggy. I can see running 3, you know, it wouldn't be too bad, but most builds run 2, and like I said, I just based my build off of most other builds that I saw, because I have no idea what I'm doing with this deck. I learned so much from this event just playing these 10 rounds, and the 8 rounds that I played last week. It's amazing to me that I was able to go undefeated last week, and it's even more amazing to me that I was able to top this event of 10-round Philadelphia. It's pretty much a YCS, because I know so little about this deck. I mean, now I consider myself an expert after playing these events. I know so much about it. I learned so much. But going in, I was a complete novice. I had to read my own cards. But it's amazing how much you learn through a tournament of just playing the deck. So yeah, that's the monster count. I don't know how many it is, but I guess we can like do deductive. Let's see. It's like I run 7 spells and 5 traps. So I guess whatever that is, 12. So it's like 28 monsters. Into the spells, I run 1 Avarice, and then I run the Trinity. And on top of the Trinity, I run 3 MSTs. So pretty standard there. Commons, yeah, I don't really rare anything out. Normally I do, but whatever. 3 spheres. I would never not run 3. It's just good. I side 1 out a lot. I don't think I've ever sided 2. I side 2 out sometimes, I guess, but mostly always 1 gets sided out, like 100%. And then 2 Decrees. Copied that from the guy in Austin. I thought it's great. It's really, 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 really good. Like, I can't stress how good it is. Even in the mirror match, it's just great stopping their sphere. Like, you can chain Decree their sphere, keep their sphere face up, and then later on, because I think Marksman's, like, mandatory, or Infantry is. So, like, if they discard Infantry later on, they have to pop your Decree, which means they have a face-up sphere. Or if you just, like, MST your own Decree later on, which is actually a cool play, they'll have a face-up sphere that's never going to get sent to the graveyards, which was just going to be sitting there, and they'll never be able to use spell cards. That's a cool little trick for their mirror match, but against Firefist and Rabbit, oh my god, this card won so many games. It's like running 3 Heavy Storms. I wouldn't run a 3rd Decree just because it's really cloggy. 2's enough, you're always going to have it when you need it. It's just so great. Yeah, I can't see, like, it's just amazing. So that's the deck, 40 cards. It's all on the table right now. Anyway, let's get that out of the way. Going into the side deck, because the extra is pretty standard. I know a lot of people want to see the side. Again, I just copied ideas from most people, so it's nothing really original in here. 1 Dominator. It was 2, and I cut it down for 1 because I wanted to try some of what Jeff Jones did with 3. I'm running 2 Vanity's Fiends and a Jinzo. Oh my god. I never set it in Jinzo once. I just didn't see a time to. I don't know when you would set it in. I don't know what he used it for. I just don't know like what to do. I'm a novice when it comes to this. But the Vanity's Fiends were absolutely legendary. They won so many games. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely great. I realized that this side isn't game breaking because, Jeff Jones did it. I'm sure other people have done it before. And I did this exact side, like in Dark Worlds. When I first started running it, I was like, this is like October 2011 when I had no idea what I was doing. It would be like, I was still running 3 Silvas and a gold, and that was terrible. So I was like, oh, why not put Soul Exchanges in? So, I sided into 2 Soul Exchanges and Vanity's Fiends because there were Fiends, and I had Kaises as well. Whatever, that was cool. Tops from Regionals with that back then, but that was then. So I'm familiar with the Vanity's Fiend side, in conjunction with Soul Exchange, which let me just go to them. I ran 2 of. I'm familiar with that, but for some reason, it just never registered to me in Mermail. It's so great because you have so much tribute fodder. You have spheres to bring out guys on top of that, and you have some of your guys are level 7, so Soul Exchange plus 1 of your monsters is pretty much a Soul Taker. And Vanity's Fiend is just amazing. It catches people off guard. So kudos to Jeff Jones for that, and whoever else helped him with that. I'm sure it wasn't his idea off the top. It was great, but I'm really bad at crediting people. I took this from somebody. I don't know who came up with it before them, but I've used this before, just never in Mermail, and it was great. It was great. Best cards on my side. So the only monsters I sided were 1 Snowman, 1 Jinzo, which I'd never used, 2 Vanity's Fiends, which did so much work. Okay, so we have, for the spells, we have 2 Soul Exchange and 1 Soul Taker. If I could change anything, I don't know if I would run a second Soul Taker, but I would definitely not run a second Soul Exchange. So I don't know what I would do with it instead, but I never, one was enough. I never even sided in the second one. I just never saw a need to. So the Soul Taker and the Soul Exchanges are great. I have a pretty heavy trap lineup. I took Debunks, which is also, I think, I took from Austin or something. I like them. They're pretty cool. I don't know. I didn't use them on a hand trap. I only ended up using them against Megalo. I played 7 Fire Fist and mirror matches. I only played my first mirror match round 8. So I went 7 rounds of the event without playing a single water deck. I only played Fire and I think 1 Rabbit and something. So I never had a chance to side these in until it was really late in the tournament, but they did work. They were pretty good. Although they're comparable. The work they did was the same work they would have done as Mind Crush did or something. But they're a little more versatile. They can hit graveyard stuff too. So I don't know. I don't know if I would run this over Mind Crush. I didn't run Mind Crush today. I might try both in the future. This is going to be cool versus Prophecy. This will be a lot better versus Prophecy actually because it'll banish the Priestess instead of sending it to grave like Mind Crush does, where they can just book a life hit. So that's something to look out for in the future. Debunk. It did great in the mirror matches that I had today. Didn't use it for anything else. 2 Dust Tornado. I want to say that this is the best card in my side deck. I main 3 MSTs and I also main 2 Decrees, but Dust Tornado is just amazing. staple against Fire Fist, auto side 2 win. Any deck that runs back row or that can potentially side D Fissure, like, Wind Ups, I didn't play any of those, but I played Fire Fist. It's just too good. Dust Tornado, amazing card. I would never not side 2 of them, even though you do have Decrees. People are like, oh, Dust or Decrees, both. Like, even if I wasn't maining Decrees, even if it would still be Dust Tornado. It's just amazing. I almost run around 3, but I don't because it's cloggy. It's just great. 2 Torrential and 2 Mirror Force. It's not that rare to see. Most of the time, Mermail are maining those 2 cards anyway, so it's just a great to side into them. I put the Torrentials in a few times against the Mirror. For Roanoke, this would be a week or 2 ago when I went the Virginia regionals. I would side 2 Torrentials and 2 Mirror Force in against Fire Fist. Just because, Bear, it's a very linear deck. It revolves around normal summoning and attacking. So Bear would always attack directly to try to get his effect. And it would always be a Mirror Force. That would be great. For this event, for Philly, I faced 6 or 7 Fire Fists. I never sided Mirror Force in once versus them. I don't think I even sided this card in. It's great, and I can see where I would, but I just didn't. I opted my side for, I went undefeated against the deck. I played 6 or 7 of them, like I said. My side every time was 1 Snowman, 1 Soul Taker, and 2 Dusts. So it would be 4 cards. That's all I would side against them every time, and it worked wonders. So, yeah, I don't know. Mirror Forces are cool, and these are pretty staple. Like I said, the best card in here is Dust Tornado. Anyway, that's not the side. I'm going to talk about the extra deck a little bit and just critique some cards. Army Arm, card's amazing. Catastor, I know I'm quoted as saying that I would run 2 of these. I would run 2 Catastor because it's so good. I only made it once today, so I rescind or whatever that thing that I said a week ago or whatever, where I said I would run 2 of these. I would run 1. But I also wouldn't run Librarian. That guy's not really necessary. I don't see much of a use for him. You have space for other stuff. You only need 1 5, so that's 1 Librarian. Lorian, this card's great. Gun Gear, this card's alright. I made him once into Big Eye. Black Rose, never made him today, but I made him a lot at Roanoke. And so he did work there, I never made him at Philly, but I can see where he'd be good. You would never cut Black Rose. Card's great. Scrap Dragon, I never made him at either of the events, I don't think. I've ever gone into an 8. And I actually ended up cutting Mistworm, which I ran at Roanoke, but I didn't run at Philly. I ended up cutting it in favor of Gotchi, because I've heard amazing things, and I've read feature matches where Gotchi does so much work, against the mirror match. If you don't have a play to make turn 1, you would just go Diva into Gotchi, and that would be good. I never did that. I never made either of these 2 cards. The Scrap Dragon I'll probably keep in, just because it's there if you need it. Reborn of Valor and go into it Mega Low or something. Or, there are ways to go into it with Diva and stuff, but I just never made it. Never made Mistworm, so I didn't run him. Never made Gotchi. 10 rounds of the tournament, never made him. Never even thought about making him. It was never even crossed my mind. Armory would always be the card I would go to. So yeah, Zenmain's great. You're very limited in the 3 stars you can run in this event, the rank 3s, but Zenmain is absolutely staple, has to be one of them. Games 2 and 3, he's just too good at getting over D Fissures and stuff, with Torrentials and stuff. He's just great. 1 Leviathan, I never made him, but I could see where he'd be good, overlay with a Marksman, detached Marksman, Pop or Acro. So he's good. You also summon him with Bahamut Shark, so I'd keep him in. Abyss Tripe, never made her on her own, but some people claim to have done that. Some people are like, oh yeah, I overlay 3/3s all the time for her and use her effect. I think that's awesome. Her effect's really cool, but I've never been able to use that. I always get her out with Bahamut Shark. And the 2 of them, 2800 defense is just absolutely obnoxious. And then her effect that brings back something after the Dark Hole or whatever, it's just stupid. This is the most broken combo I think ever. Obviously that's a extreme exaggeration, but it's great. Dweller, staple. Cowboy, not staple. People are so I won 2 games today, I think. One of them was off Cowboy. I think I don't know if I mentioned it. I can't, because a lot of details I can't remember, but I think 1 game 2 I won with Cowboy. It was just great. It would catch people off guard. I can't find a reason not to run it, because I can't really think of any cards that I would rather run that I'm missing. I couldn't find room for this or that. And if I did have to cut something, I'd cut Gotchi. This card's too good. I don't know why people don't universally run it in Mermail. It's just too good in time, and not in time, just winning the game. When you put somebody at 600, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take it. I'm at 600. And I start reaching for Master Deck, and the guy was like, he's like, oh, are you going to pretend to have Cowboy on me? The random Cowboy, and I show him the Cowboy, and he's just blown. People are always blown. They assume that against Mermail, they're safe if they're sub 1,000. They're like, yeah, you can't kill me this turn, at least. You don't run Cowboy. You don't have rank 4s, but yeah, it's great to just have in there. I just don't see a reason why you wouldn't. 1 Gaios. 1 Big Eye. I guess that's the reason why you wouldn't, because I'm only running 1 of each. A lot of decks run 2 Gaios, 1 Big Eye, or 2 Big Eye, 1 Gaios, or 2 of each, or whatever. I've seen them all, I've never needed more than, I don't know. There's some times, I guess, where I'd like a second Big Eye, like Big Eye, I don't know. But like go into Big Eye, take their Megalo, go into another Big Eye, take their other guy. I can see where you need two Big Eye, and I can also see where you need two Gaios, I guess. But if I had to cut anything to make them, I would cut a Gachi. I would never cut Cowboy. So that's the extra deck. Anyway, cool mat. It's a Fire Fist mat. Yeah, I actually earned this mat twice, and this is my first time getting it. Because what happened was at Roanoke, down in Virginia, I ran a similar Mermail build. The main deck was like pretty much the same. It was just 3 cards different. I ran like Lances and Chalices and stuff instead of Decrees. But I went 8-0 at that, and I topped that event, but it was really weird. They did like top 16 or something. So they had it so that like top 16 would like make the cut. So there were some random X2s that like topped, but then they would have like single elimination from that point on to get the mat. They're like, yo, yeah, the top cut is top 16, but only top 8 get the mat. So I was like, so you mean I can go 8-0 and not get the mat? Like, that's weird. Like, like if this were a 9-round tournament, I could go 8-0 and then lose the next one and end 8-1 and get the mat. But no, they're like, yo, you can go 8-0 and you can end 8-1 and not get a mat, which is what happened. So I went 8-0 in Swiss, then I lost the top match versus some like X2 Fire Fist guy. And I was like, I wasn't too salty, but I didn't get the mat that time. So it's kind of weird that I like earned it twice, only got it once, but it's just great. This is my first Philly that I've ever topped. I topped Maryland regionals and Virginia regionals a lot, but this is the first time going to Philly. I've always tried, and it's always been so close. Last time I was here, I was 8-2 with windups. I've always just been like, that far away and never quite there. So it's just really cool to have the mat and everything. Oh, it was even cooler. I'm wearing a Wonder Years shirt. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They're my favorite band right now. They're from Philly. So I got a bunch of compliments on that. That was just, it made my event a lot cooler. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I know this is a really long video already. But yeah, that's my Mermail deck that I used to top. Nothing really creative there, but it's just a build that worked for me. So if you guys want to try it, mess around with a few cards. You heard the critique I made on some of them, like what I would cut, what I keep in. I expect to be running this deck for Jersey. Despite Ophion and Evil Swarms coming out and decks being relevant, I think that this Mono Mermail is still the answer for me. I'll have to tweak a lot to make the matchups better, test a lot on DN, but yeah, we'll see. So thanks for checking in. Calvin Tahan, thanks for watching.